Hello everyone. The psychology of war is a study of how war affects the thoughts, feelings, and behaviors of individuals, groups, and societies. War involves organized and often violent conflict between two or more groups of people, usually for political, economic, or ideological reasons. War can have profound and lasting effects on the psychology and behavior of individuals, groups, and societies. In today's video, I will explain how war affects people's emotions using some psychological theories and concepts to illustrate my points. Concepts. War is a complex phenomenon that involves multiple factors such as political, economic, social, cultural, historical, and psychological aspects. War can have both positive and negative effects on human behavior and psychology depending on the context, duration, intensity, and outcome of the conflict. Some of the possible positive effects of war include increased patriotism, solidarity, resilience, creativity, innovation, and social change. War can also stimulate economic growth, technological development, and scientific discovery. War can also provide opportunities for personal growth, learning, and empowerment of some individuals. For example, some studies have found that war veterans can experience post traumatic growth, which is a positive psychological change that occurs as a result of adversity and challenge. Post traumatic growth can include increased appreciation of life, improved relationships, enhanced personal strength, spiritual development, and new possibilities. Some of the possible negative effects of war include increased violence, aggression, trauma, stress, fear, anxiety, depression, and suicide. War can also cause physical injuries, disabilities, diseases, and deaths. War can also damage the environment, infrastructure, and cultural heritage. War can also create social problems such as poverty, inequality, injustice, discrimination, and human rights violations. The psychology of war can be studied from different perspectives, such as individual, groups, and social levels. Some of the psychological theories and concepts can be applied to understand as war include social identity theory, realistic conflict theory, social dominance theory, terror management theory, just word hypothesis, cognitive dissonance theory, attribution theory, and moral disengagement theory. The type and nature of war, such as whether it's conventional, unconventional, civil, or international, and whether it is defensive, offensive, or preventive. The role and involvement of individuals, such as whether they are combatants, civilians, refugees, or peacekeepers, and whether they are volunteers, conscripts, or mercenaries. The exposure and experience of individuals, such as whether they witness, participate, or suffer from violence, atrocities, or losses, and whether they receive support, recognition, and compensation. The personality and background of individuals, such as their age, gender, ethnicity, religion, education, and values, and whether they have any pre existing mental or physical conditions. The context and culture of the individual, such as the political, economic, social, and historical factors that shape their attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors towards war and the norms, values and traditions that influence their coping and adaptation strategies. One of the most obvious and immediate effects of war is the impact on people's emotions. Emotions are complex and subjective experiences that involve physiological, cognitive, and behavioral components. Emotions can be classified into different types such as basic emotions, for example, fear, anger, sadness, joy, etc. Complex emotions like guilt, shame, pride, etc. And social emotions like empathy, compassion, envy, etc. Emotions can also vary in intensity, duration, and balance, like positive or negative. We can trigger a range of emotions in people depending on their role, involvement, exposure, and experience of the conflict. For example, combatants may experience the emotions of fear, anger, anxiety, stress, excitement, adrenaline, pride, loyalty, guilt, shame, regret, relief, joy, or grief. Civilians may experience the emotions like fear, anger, sadness, despair, helplessness, hopelessness, shock, trauma, resentment, hatred, gratitude, or compassion.